Good evening. I'm back with another Nofap / INFJ related question video. I've done some INFJ Nofap stuff in the past. It's pretty niche, but I'm trying to get it back into making more Nofap related things, as well as touching on a little bit of INFJ stuff. So if you're here for the INFJ stuff, I apologise if you don't really understand much about Nofap. If you're here for the Nofap stuff and you don't know much about INFJ or Myers-Briggs, I think that's the name, Myers-Briggs, then I apologise for that. Either case, if you know about one but not the other, I encourage you to do a little bit of research into both, like I've done, and that sort of benefited me in a way. So my friend sent me an article because I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago about some INFJ stuff, because he's a counsellor, and he knows a little bit about this, and he gave me a really good article regarding stress and personalities and that sort of thing, and I'm reading off a website now, and I'm going to just read a little bit of this article out to sort of put into picture about what I'm going to explain next. And I will put I'll put the link of this article I'm reading in the description, so that you can read it yourself. If you're a different personality type, you can check that out too, and all of that kind of stuff. So I've touched in the past about as a person that's INFJ, sometimes when it comes to things Nofap related, like PMO and stuff like that, sometimes a lot of stuff that circulates around relapses and that sort of stuff, it's often caused by things like stress. It's caused by like being misunderstood and stuff like that. And I've been watching for a while, but I think I previously said something that when I've relapsed, a lot of the times it is because I felt rejected for something. And as someone that's INFJ, being rejected, it's a really difficult thing, because a lot of the times you take it personally and you just want to be understood, and you want people to you want people to accept you for who you are, and it's very difficult at times to get across who you are to someone in order for them to understand and ultimately accept you, because not everyone will, and that's a hard thing. And for someone like myself, sometimes when you get rejected, you can end up doing, the result of that is quite, you can end up doing some things that you don't like doing, as a way to alleviate the rejection in a way. So let me read off this article a little bit, and then I'll try and expound on this a little bit. So this article that I'm reading off the internet right now, you may want to open it up in your own browser or whatever, or you just listen to me or something, I don't know. It talks a little bit about what stresses out someone, in this case what stresses out a person that has an INFJ personality, and what they do under stress. Now, okay, right here. This is what it says. When under stress, the INFJ feels fragmented or lost. They feel that they can't be themselves and feel an urge to act a part to survive or fit in. This disassociation can cause physical symptoms to the INFJ, like headaches, IBS, or nausea. The repressed feelings they're holding on to can cause them to become immobilized. If they are under chronic extreme stress, they may fall into the grip of their inferior function, extroverted sensing. When this happens, they may engage in indulgent, self-destructive habits like binge eating, watching too much television, over-exercising, or drinking too much. This often feels like an out-of-body experience to them. What they do provides no pleasure, but feels somewhat robotic and out of control. After this occurs, they dwell in self-hatred, falling even more into guilt over what they've done. They may become uncharacteristically angry and quick-tempered, unreasonable and irrational. They may become obsessed with details in their outer world, obsessive with cleaning or doing housework. They stumble over their words, like I've been doing. That's an accident because it's about 10 o'clock at night. I'm sorry, I've been at work all day. They stumble over their words, and their intense feelings may eventually lead them to a state of complete exhaustion. So let me just... One of the sentences that stood out to me was this. Was when it said, when under extreme stress, they fall into a grip of inferior function extroverted sensing. When this happens, they may engage in indulgent self-destructive habits like binge eating, watching too much television, over-exercising, etc., etc. This often feels like an out-of-body experience to them. What they do provides no pleasure, but feels somewhat robotic and out of control. So this, once I heard this, and once my friend read it to me, and I read it myself, it connected, and it made sense to me that in regards to my personality and who I am, and then against things like, as I just mentioned, the fallback when I experience stress or rejection or whatever, you can turn to destructive habits, such as what I just read, or in my case, previously, or whatever, it's PMO stuff, right? So it makes sense, and it's strange because this article summarizes it. It's like this, it's this out of body or robotic experience. Like you do something and you don't like it, and it's not correct, but you continue to do it. And because as an INFJ, I'm all about authenticity and being the real me, and that sort of thing. This sort of thing, because it's so conflicting, this sort of thing causes so much, I suppose, deep conflict within my own world, because I'm doing something that's not me and that I don't agree with, and that is just not a right thing, and I know that in my mind, in my heart, it's not a right thing, and yet here I am doing something that's contrary to my nature, I suppose you could say, to my own ethics and my own values, right? But I can see that sort of stuff occurs as a result, because if I'm struggling under stress or that sort of stuff, then, or rejection or any kind of that negative emotion, then I'm going to fall back on my extroverted sensing, and because that's not saying that it's one of my minor things according to INFJ personality, then it's something that I don't cope with very well. It's like trying to. It's like if you have, if I have two eyes in this case, and like one of my eyes is a good eye and one of my eyes is a bad eye. It's like trying to walk with it using my bad eye, right? Like I'm not going to get very far, and I'm not going to do very well. So similarly, against that, as INFJ, if you're picking your, the parts of your personality that aren't your strengths, then that's when you can be misled, or you may end up going down an incorrect path. So I'm not to say that the stress is the problem or whatever, because as I've said this before, I'm responsible for my own actions, of course. And when it comes to Nofap, it's about living this life is about, or doing Nofap is about making the right choice, doing the right thing, and that sort of thing. So it's ultimately about choosing your strength instead, going after what's better in your life and or better in your personality, and working off your strength instead of picking something that's not all that good, even though it's easily accessible, right? So maybe that makes sense. I hope it does. I'm sorry if this is a bit too specific in relation to the way that Nofap ties to INFJ related things, But if this doesn't really resonate with you, then I would encourage you to check out the link that I put in the video. Find out what personality you are, and if you're fighting the good fight in Nofap like I am, and like lots of other people are, then I'd encourage you check out your personality type, relay it against the strengths and the weaknesses, and it may help you understand in your journey just what works and what doesn't work, what your strengths are and what you need to play off, and where your weaknesses that you need to protect a bit more, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But yeah, I might leave it there, and yeah, thanks for watching.